Writing newsletters is a great practice for many creatives. It's the best way we have today of reaching people. And that cannot be said for Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube. It's like a letter to a friend. It's the core of my business.
When the platform you build your audience on suddenly goes dark, you realize how important it is to have an email list. I think some of us really learned this lesson the hard way recently. But I knew from the get-go when I started Orbit how important it is to have an email newsletter, a way to collect names and emails that forms your lifeline to your creative business. And in this conversation with Louise, we get into the nitty-gritty of how she approaches it as an artist. This is part of a longer conversation, but this part never actually made the cut. And I think right now is a good opportunity to share her perspective with you. So let's just get into it. Your newsletter. What role does it actually play?
It's my whole business. It's the core of my business. It always has been for all of my businesses that I've run in the past. I could not have done it without an email list. And almost all of the sales that I make are because of some email that I've written. So that's why I talk about it a lot in my videos and in my writings, the importance of building an email list, because it's the best way we have today of reaching people in a reliable way. And that's still, I mean, some emails end up in spam, some emails are not being read, but at least they land in someone's inbox most of the time. And that cannot be said for Instagram or TikTok or YouTube. We don't have guaranteed reach, but with email, it's the closest thing we have to guaranteed reach for the people that have explicitly opted in to hearing from us. It's the foundation of an online business if you want some kind of sustainability and being able to reliably reach the people that want to be reached by you.
What is in your newsletter? Do you like share art practices? Do you share? Is it like, are you selling something? How often does it come out?
The way that I've found works the best for me long term, and the way that I have been writing letters the most, is just writing weekly letters to my audience. And I share what's going on in my life, what I'm working on, what I'm thinking about. If I have made art that week, I might just share pictures of it. Here's what I painted this week. Here's what I learned about it. If I have a new video, I'm going to link that. Here's the latest video. Maybe I'll elaborate a bit about the topic of the video. And if I have something new for sale, I will put that in there. And I also have like a recurring, like the second part of my newsletter is where I like recommend things that I like. So the books that I'm reading, other videos that I've enjoyed, if I'm watching any like TV shows, playing games that I love, links to articles. Yeah, just I call it my favorite things. It's just my favorite things list with recommendations. And I get a lot of feedback that people really enjoy those parts. I think it's a great way to slowly get to know someone over time by, their preferences and their tastes.
But I love that you just call it a letter. That
Yeah,
is, yeah, that makes it so
it's
much
like a
more
letter to a
personal.
friend. It's how
Yeah,
I approach them. I write them as if to one person and as if
yes.
it's like a close friend. When I sell things, I sell it in a very like soft manner. It's not hard selling. It's more just like, oh, and I made this thing. You might like it if XYZ. And then I put it in there. And I sell plenty of things anyways that way. I don't feel the need to have funnels and go really hard on the things. I approach it like I write letters to my friends every week and just let them know what's up in my life.
I think I have to uh, own this concept of writing it to one person and writing a letter
Mm,
to a friend. And so this whole concept of know who your audience is, and ideally your audience is one specific person, I
yeah,
think is really
ideally.
important. Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard when you're multi-passionate and you want to like dip your toe in and everything. But yeah, that's like copywriting lesson number one. You have to know who you're talking to, and you have to know like the specifics of them, their age, what their background is, like what their interests are, what kind of language they use, everything. The more you know about someone, the better you can talk to them. I really think that writing newsletters is a great practice for many creatives, because you're going to get better at showing your art, whatever your art is. If it's paintings or books or music, you're going to practice showing your art and talking about it in a casual way that doesn't feel like too
it's a very
stiff.
low pressure way to practice creativity. I think writing is a very easy way to get into it. It's the only
Yeah.
thing I've ever been really consistent with.
You do that as well? You send weekly newsletters?
Yeah, because I knew when I started this whole Orbit project, I need to have a place that is not YouTube where people can connect. So I didn't know what I was doing, or I didn't really have a plan, but I was like, I need a way for people to stay in touch directly. Do you have any tips on getting people to sign up to your newsletter?
So many tips. I don't know even how to distill that down into one answer, but I mean, the thing that I see a lot because I do audits of people's websites, like people's creative businesses. I provide something that I call creative business audits, where I just take a look at their whole business and their website and their branding and their communication, and I give them pointers and feedback and suggestions. And the most common thing that I see, and I'm guilty of this as well, I've done this in the past, but it's not being specific about what exactly people are getting from you by signing up to your email list. So you can't just write, join my newsletter for updates. The more specific you can be with what do these letters look like? How often are you going to be sending them emails? What's the style and vibe of it? And why they should subscribe. Subscribe to get weekly recommendations and tips and advice for building your creative business or building an art practice or whatever it is. The more specific you can be, the easier it's going to be for people to opt in, because they know what they're going to get. And I mean, we're always anxious when we give someone our email address, because we don't know what they're going to do with it. We don't know how often they're going to email us, if it's going to be really salesy, if it's going to be relevant at all. And so that's why I really like services like Substack and Ghost, and a lot of, I think ConvertKit does this now as well. Like you can keep an open archive of your past newsletters for people to see. That can be like the best marketing device for your newsletters. Just, hey, I write weekly to my crowd of fellow creative entrepreneurs, and if you want to know what it looks like, here are some past issues. That, for me, that's been the best way for me to evaluate whether or not I want to subscribe to someone. And when you are pitching your email list or your newsletter, just be really honest about what they look like and how often you write them and what they contain and why someone might get something out of them, because we always want to get something out of our subscriptions.
That was my conversation with Louise. I hope you found it helpful. If you want to check out the Orbit newsletter, I send simple, actionable frameworks for solo creators every Friday. The link is down in the description. And if you want to see the full conversation with Louise, click the video right here.